Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is your man, Big B, Brian Hanley, and welcome to Big 12 Insiders. Doing a recap show on the college football playoff. I appreciate everybody tuning in, man. Look, college football rankings, the first one of the season came out. I think they're important. You know, a lot of people say, hey, it's not where you start, it's where you finish. But I think they're still important for the simple fact of you got to know exactly where you're at. There's a lot of teams that are in this thing that if you get ranked way too low, you don't have an opportunity to move up. Should I say? You know, if you're down too far, even if you win all your games, I'm just not positive that you can always look up. A lot of people are saying that the Big 12 is going to be the outside looking in as far as getting multiple teams in. I'm going to tell you why I think it's different based on what we have and where we're at. So, having said all of that, before we get into this, remember to like, follow, subscribe, continue to leave those comments, all that good stuff. I appreciate everybody joining in. Let's get into this. So, college football playoff came out with their rankings today. As expected, we had four teams that were listed: BYU, Iowa State, Kansas State, and Colorado. BYU is at number 9. And the path to the college football playoff for BYU is pretty simple. Win out and you're in. I mean, I don't think there's any ifs, ands, or buts about that. Not only that, even if BYU wins out, gets to the Big 12 title game and lose, look, I've said this once, I've said it 100 times. College football has always been about money. It's always going to be about money. So BYU brings a lot of eyeballs. They have a big fan base. Let's not forget about that. That brand is big. They have fans all over, not just the country, the world. So if BYU is a one-loss team and that one loss just happens to be in the Big 12 title game, I'm sorry, people. They're making it. They're going to take them. Now, some people are going to look at that and say, well, they're going to fall in the rankings and they'll drop them out. Maybe that could happen, but since they're about money and this thing is about money, I don't see them dropping them too far. I think they would be in an at-large team. But besides all else, BYU, you win out, you're in. Period. End of story. Now it's Iowa State. They're at number 17. They got a little bit tougher road. I mean, they've got some tough games that are still left on their schedule. But the same is still true for Iowa State. If you win out, you're in. Now, if they go to the Big 12 title game and they won out and they get there and then they lose in the Big 12 title game, well, that's a little different. I don't believe that a 2-loss Iowa State team they're going to put in this thing based on who they played early in their schedule, which is why they weren't getting a ton of respect anyway. And then they're having 2 losses within the Big 12. I don't think they're going to allow them to be in it. The eyeballs are just not the same for an Iowa State team as what they would be for a BYU. Like it, don't like it. You know me. I'm just going to tell you the truth. That's just the cold, hard facts on what's going on. But again, the path is there. You win out, you're in. Next up, you got Kansas State at number 19. If you win out, that doesn't mean that you get anything. Okay? You blew that opportunity when you lost to Houston. Okay? And that's tough for Kansas State fans to hear, but it's just the truth. Now, you can win out and not get to the title game because Colorado would have to lose. You need help to be able to get there. It doesn't mean that help isn't coming. We know this conference, man, anything can happen just right around the corner. Just when you think that we know exactly what's going to happen, kind of like we did last weekend, boom, it gets turned upside down on its head. So the best thing that Kansas State can keep doing right now is just to keep winning. They're at 19. If they keep winning now, here's the thing. There's going to be some teams that are above them that play each other. They're going to have to lose. Somebody's going to lose, and somebody's going to fall. Are they going to drop them down below a 2-loss Kansas State? Probably not. Depending on how high that team is, probably not. Now, if it's a 2-loss team and they go to 3 losses, that's a different conversation. But right now, Kansas State is on the outside looking in. Moving on, the last Big 12 team, number 20, Colorado. And I'm here to tell you right now, I've said it before, say it again. Colorado wins out, they're getting in the college football playoff, period, end of story. Number one, they're number 20. If they win out the last 4 games, they will be in the top 15. That's number one. Number two, we talked about money and eyeballs. Colorado is going to bring all of that, all of it. So, yes, they are begging for Colorado to win so they can put them in the college football playoff. That's exactly what they want to happen. Do they own the tiebreaker with Iowa State? I don't think they do, but again, we don't know exactly how all that works. For conversation's sake, let's say they don't owe the tiebreaker. Would they put a team in that doesn't get to the conference championship game, but they're still 10-2? Yeah, if you bring the right amount of eyeballs, yes, you do. They will put Colorado in. Now, that's going to rub some people the wrong way. Some people are going to say, oh, it's not fair. Life ain't fair, people. I'm sorry. It just doesn't work that way. But what I do know is the College Football Committee is looking for a way to put Colorado in it. They want the most eyeballs. That's what all of this is about. And you're going to tell me that a 2-loss Colorado team, 10-2, isn't going to be in the college football playoff? Of course they are. Of course they are. And I don't think there's any ifs, ands, or buts about it. Now, here's how the Big 12 could possibly get 3 teams in. Now, it's going to require some teams to lose, obviously, that are above BYU and below BYU. It's going to require a couple of teams to lose. But let Iowa State and BYU win out. Iowa State wins the game in the Big 12 title game. You know they're in. They're not going to keep out a 1-loss BYU that's won every game except for that one. They're not going to keep them out. Then Colorado's sitting there. If Colorado ends up 13, do you think they're going to leave them out? No, they're not. If they end up 15, do you think they're going to leave Colorado out? No, they're not. Now, I know there's going to be some pushback. There's going to be people say there's no way that the Big 12 gets 3 teams in. Well, that's a way right there. Because, again, if Iowa State and BYU continue to win, all they're going to do is move up in the rankings. They're going to move up. One of them will lose the game. Okay, one of them will automatically be in. Now, again, if Iowa State were to lose, they're not going to take Iowa State. And I know Iowa State fans are going to be screaming to high hell. If they go to the Big 12 title game and they lose and they take Colorado over them, they are going to be furious. And I'm not even necessarily saying that you would be wrong, but I'm just telling you what's going to happen. I mean, you can say that it's wrong. You can say it's not right. But again, this is about money. And when things are about money, since when has everything been fair? It isn't. And this isn't going to be fair either. I'm sorry. It's just not. They will take Colorado. Kansas State, again, you're on the outside looking in. You can say, yeah, we're ranked ahead of Colorado, and we beat Colorado. Same thing to you. You can win out. Colorado, you beat them, whatever. Colorado brings way more eyeballs to the table than Kansas State does. It's just period, end of story. So we can say that it's not fair, but again, life just isn't fair. But I think there is a path for the Big 12 to get 3 teams in. Is it likely? Probably not. Probably not likely at all. But it doesn't mean it can't happen. I think the best case scenario is 2 teams. I think 2 teams make it. Now, I'm sitting here saying all this, and we got a ton of football left. Let these teams lose two games apiece. 1 team is getting in from the Big 12. Let's just say that. The bottom falls out at BYU. They lose a couple of games. Iowa State loses a couple of games. We're only getting 1 in. That much I can tell you right now. So the teams got to keep winning. If the Big 12 wants to get multiple teams in, they have to keep winning. You could say, well, what about, like a Texas Tech or Arizona State? I think they're on the outside looking in, people. Yes, they could win the rest of their games. Unless they win the Big 12, they're not making it. They're just not making it. And that's why I talked about where the rankings were to start, is because if you're not ranked, it is awfully hard, if not impossible, to be able to go from unranked in the first poll to being in an at-large team. Now, there are more teams. Don't get me wrong. Anything is possible now with there being more teams. but it just makes it very, very difficult. But what I will say is those teams have to play some teams that are ranked higher than them that are still left on their schedule. What I should have said, excuse me. So there's opportunities for everything. I just don't think the Big 12 should look at this. If we have teams that keep winning, that say, no matter what, we're only getting one team in. I don't buy that. I don't believe that. I think we'll be able to get multiple teams in this thing if everybody keeps winning. But one thing that I do know, Colorado wins out, they're in. Again, I know you don't like it. I know you don't want to hear me say that, but it's just the truth. They're in. BYU wins out, only loses in the Big 12 title game, they're in. Iowa State has to win out to get in. No other option. Kansas State, outside looking in, needs help, needs a lot of help to be able to get in. And even then, Kansas State's path is Big 12 title win. Kansas State will not be an at-large team. That part's not going to happen. Kansas State needs a ton of help. They blew their opportunity. So for them to get in, they can still do it, but they got to win the Big 12 to get in. They got to do that. And Iowa State technically does too. Like I said, Iowa State will have to win the Big 12 as well. I broke down that scenario. They can't go and lose in the Big 12 title game with 2 losses and be tied with Colorado and get in over them. Not going to happen. Just not going to happen. So that's kind of my spiel, my breakdown after the first rankings. I thought it was important that I at least give you my spin on it and where I thought the Big 12 would be. If you agree, you disagree, you know what to do. Let me know in the comments. I appreciate everybody showing up as you always do, man. Thank you guys. I appreciate it, and we will talk to you soon.
Thank you for watching the Big 12 Insiders, your Big 12 sports show. This has been a Spirit Street production.